Welcome to my car office today. Hope everyone's doing great. Let's talk about negotiation in real estate because this is one of the most critical and essential pieces that a real estate agent really can make a difference and come in handy for. When we're talking about real estate negotiation from the seller's point of view, the real subject that we're talking about here is time value of money. And let me expand on a couple of situations and circumstances. One of the things that we have when we make an offer on a property is earnest money. And that earnest money says, hey, I am this amount serious about purchasing your home and I am going to put this money down. It is non-refundable while we do our due diligence. That's how it is in Utah. And while we're doing our due diligence, if we cancel for any reason, we get that money back. But if we cancel after our due diligence, there's some hoops we have to jump through and qualify if we're going to get that back. But all of these terms and items are negotiable. So one of the key things to remember is that time value of money. Now, I want to give you a scenario that I worked on recently with one of my listings. $2.7 million is the list price. We went under contract at $2.67 million, and we were scheduled to close April 2nd with a 45-day possession after closing. And it was 1% earnest money, so $26,000 in earnest money, which is fairly standard when you're starting that process. A more serious offer would have put down a little bit more upfront or added that after the inspection time period. But on this specific property, there was no financing or appraisal deadline because they were paying cash with this. About a week into the contract, they came back and said, we want to decrease the earnest money to $10,000 and we want to change the closing date to May 13th. Now, with this type of scenario and situation, it's really, really critical to know what's on the table here. We listed this property in spring for a reason. Prime time. It's also still really hot market-wise. People are really anxious and excited and trying to transition into specific things. There's still not a lot of inventory on the market as well, and in this price point included. So we were very strategic about when we put the property on the market. And so when we structured our counter offer to those terms, we structured it with that piece in mind. That what is the time value on the earnest money and the closing timeline. Now, the things that we came up with that were the most important and helped the sellers feel good about things is number one, yes, we'll decrease that earnest money to $10,000, but we're still going to close April 2nd and then put into place some sort of a leaseback agreement so that there is something in place that protects the property, protects the buyers and the sellers equally to continue taking good care of that property and turn the property over in good standing. So that's option number one. Option number two is, hey, we're okay with that longer time frame to be able to not close until May 13th because it still gives the sellers a time to find a place to go next. But we want $50,000 earnest money because if that contract cancels, we've just lost our entire spring season of having the home and the property on the market. Now, there's lots of different situations and scenarios that this plays into, but also different conversations that we could have. And what it comes down to really, and the most important thing, is that time value. Had we had the property listed and this was November and we were trying to get through December or January, it might not have made as big of a difference to, change the closing date or that type of thing. But we're in prime season, and so that's important. It's also important to my sellers that they have the time to be able to find a place to go, whether that's renting for a minute or buying something else. All of that takes time, and the inspection hadn't been done yet. So needing that time to get through some of these pieces is also critical. But everything that is negotiated has a cost and a value associated with it. And so that's what real estate negotiation really is about, is finding that middle point that works for both parties. It doesn't have to be a 50-50 split and they're both equally happy, but it does need to be close to that. It needs to work for both parties. They both need to have their needs met for a smooth transaction. Now, that's not the case for 100% of people. Sometimes people just need to sell and, they're giving a lot away, but they recognize their situation that they just need to sell. And so, the buyer might have a little bit more advantage. Likewise, if a seller doesn't have to sell, they might list a little bit higher and wait for the right buyer to come along. And so just remember that with negotiations, number one, everything is negotiable. Number two, there is a cost and a value associated with all of the terms that are negotiated. And a lot of times that has to do with the time and timing value associated with it. Number four, this is the critical piece where a real estate agent comes into play. Say hi to my little partner buddy there today. We are just going to go check on a couple properties before the rest of the kids get home from school. So have a great day, everyone.